Hey everybody, we are back. We are live. It has been a year and change since we did our last live stream, and we are back for Loki season 2. This is the after show presented by our partners at Tascam. Everybody, welcome back. It's great to see everybody. I'm Mike Sandoval. If you don't remember me, it's been a while. I'm the executive producer of MUSE TV, and we have a new partner here for this season of Loki 2. We got one of the newest members of the MUSE TV family, Manny Gomez. Manny, tell me a little bit about yourself.
What's up? What's up? Yeah, been working in the entertainment industry now for a couple of years. Served as senior editor, interviewer for Latino Review Media for a long time. I'm also a news producer for CBS 47 in the Central Valley in Fresno. So yeah, who has time for sleep? Not me. But
Exactly.
you do it. You do it because you love it, not because it makes you money.
Exactly. Exactly. But with all that taken care of and covered, let's get into Loki season 2, episode 1. Just finished. One thing I gotta get off my chest right off the bat, I love the 6 o'clock release schedule now so much, because the last live streams that we have were at like we started them at 11 p.m. and wouldn't end till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh
So
no.
Disney, thank you so much for changing that, because you just made my life a lot better. So
Yeah, I guess if you're doing live stream shows, yeah, it makes sense. I'm for me, it's never really been an issue either because of uh, privileged screeners or also because it's a late night thing for me. So, but yeah, if we're gonna be doing something like this, then yeah, absolutely, 6 o'clock is great because then get some dinner, catch the show, and then go on ahead and nerd out a little bit.
exactly. So let's talk about this first episode. Did you get a chance to see it ahead of time, or did you get a
No, I
screener
didn't.
drop just like I do?
I had to watch it like everybody else for the first time in a while. It was weird.
I know. I got on Monday. I got invited to the Loki special event slash premiere screenings, and we got 2 episodes.
Oh, nice.
So we got this one, but what they didn't show us a lot of the end part. So they
Mm.
kind of left that up as a talk, as a good little tease for us to talk about. So at least it's a little fresh for some of us. But great episode. I really like the fact that this ep, this show is starting off where season 1 left off, and
Hmm.
I like that a lot. Uh, the TVA is all in a mess. Loki gets sent back to a different time period, and it looks like in a different time frame, and he's getting sucked into different dimensions. What do you think of this new season so far as a start?
Well, I mean, like you said, it just really picks off where season one left off, and it's a bittersweet taste because it takes me back to the end of season one when we've got that fight, that reveal with Jonathan Majors, and oh my God, here's the beginning of the multiverse saga for real this time, and then just really everything in Marvel really mellowed out, and now to pick it up again, it kind of it's you kind of look back at like Secret Invasion and things like that real quick, and then but you're right back into they do a really good job of putting you right back into the action and not really, although some in some spots it did maybe go a little slow, but at the same time it was really quick when went from one thing to another because like you said the time stream is in shambles. um so yeah, I have high hopes for this because season one didn't let us down, and I mean Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston, I mean what more do you really want?
Yeah, and I love the banter between Tom Hiddleston
Always good stuff, yeah.
and Owen Wilson. It's great banter, great way. Like I could literally see them just talking the whole show, and I'd be cool, because it's just that conversation. But it's just it's it's well done because of that. It brings you back in. It reminds you of where's going on. And I agree with you with the Marvel like after what happened the first after season 1 and the shambles of what the films and where the multiverse was going and what happened. It kind of left me wondering what this start was going to be like
Hmm.
and where we're going with it. And somehow it feels like it's making me feel a little bit better after a first episode that maybe there's a direction recourse?
Well, I don't really I've taken a different approach to it as to all right, so yeah, everything else is going on, whatever. But as far as this series, if I can just um, keep it in its own timeline for the sake of a better term,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna enjoy the heck out of it, and hopefully it stays the course to the first season, because if it does, then regardless of what else is going on, a solid 2 seasons of Loki, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
You and I have to go through, so many TV shows and movies at times that some are hit and miss, and Loki has been one of those that was a hit, and we've been anxiously looking forward to it because, like the banter you're talking about and the aesthetic of the TVA, and just kind of it just feels like it's going somewhere.
Exactly, exactly. But it does leave me with some, as we get on through the season, we keep going through the season. I already have ideas of where this could all set up and how this all could play out. Because it's kind of that branching of the timeline gives a lot of possibilities still. And going on from that, talking about branching of timelines, we see Ki Yi Kwan coming into the series as OB. What's his full name? Or Ouroboros?
Is oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. I'm gonna go like with what Mobius calls him OB, and we see him as he, it looks like he's gonna be playing a big part in this series, and a nice little put some meat onto the show. So far, so good. I like his character a lot. I think it pulls into what we're gonna be looking forward to in this season. Your thoughts?
I feel like he's more like the Q of the series. I don't know how much we'll see of him. I wonder if it was really front loaded, just kind of riding that wave of his popularity with some of the things we've seen him in.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be nice to continuously see him as the Q of where it's like, oh yeah, you already like. I thought it was really clever the way that they developed that they needed that one part, but it was in the past, but it was in the present. And as the past was being reformed, the present was changing, and his two versions of himself, not necessarily talking to himself, but remembering to himself was quite funny. But it's a great addition. It's a very lovable character, and an actor also just has that kind of energy. So it's great to be added on Loki. It will be interesting to see how much more they use of him, because I don't want him to become um, really kind of like that, a crutch for what should be happening.
Yeah, and I like the fact that the time slipping seems to be already taken care of.
Hmm.
That this was in ramifications of what happened with him and Sylvie at the end of the last season, and the time slipping is just something that is occurring in this episode, which I kind of like because I think it was a good play in moving the story forward for this episode. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a nice bridge. It's a nice it's a nice way to just like, hey, yeah, remember that these things happened. These were the consequences. We addressed them. Let's move on. Because too often we see things and not in other properties too. And I'm generalizing that one thing happens and then all of a sudden it's just very different. It's like, wait, what happened? It's like, well, we kind of forgot about it. But I think it just adds to that bridge to that. Hey, remember how much we really like this series? Well, we still love it too, and
Yeah.
we're putting that much care into it. So whatever, kudos to this creative team for continuing that on.
Yeah, exactly. And I love whoever was doing the cinematography for this show did some very interesting shots to me. Very much, and the one I'm talking about is in the elevator when Loki's time slipping, talking to Mobius, and he's just going crazy and literally asks the person, you don't know there's
Yeah.
somebody in there. That is so like I love the way that they're playing with this, with that you're a third person in that elevator. And it's making you feel like, for me at least, it feels like I'm there. I'm watching this. I'm there. I'm in the elevator. I'm being a part of this. And it doesn't happen all the time. And that's what I like. It is not constant. But you have that feeling, kind of like The Office had at one point. And I
So,
think that's cool.
some of it worked for me. The elevator scene worked for me. There was a couple of scenes before that, while they're in some of the hallways, where I thought the camera choices were kind of questionable.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like they were trying to do like a freehand cam, or like a almost like we're running with him, but some of the shots were kind of lower and kind of weird angled.
Mm-hmm.
And just being that it's never really been that way,
Mm-hmm.
I questioned that choice a little bit. It's like, well, like if you wanted to do that, that's something that should have been addressed a little bit earlier,
Mm-hmm.
or give me a reason why all of a sudden I'm on this jersey in that specific way with them. So that distracted me a bit, but I mean, it wasn't a hallway scene, and then I didn't really see it too much going ahead. That's my thoughts on camera on the camera.
Was it the one, the transition where where the camera is panning down to the floor to
Yeah,
transition, and you see this? Yeah, I saw that because that was something they never used before. I remember that so much, and it was an interesting way of using a transition. But it felt kind of weird to me too. I would agree with you on that one because I think it was a different choice because there wasn't a style palette set up for that in the first season. I agree with you on that one.
yeah, and in a way that it is sort of nitpicking, and I mean
Mm-hmm.
that's what we do,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we can't just we can't just generalize everything and be like, yeah, this is just good, and like, no, there's always something that can be improved, but in general, I think it looked great. I love I love the aesthetics, the colors, the just kind of that, the oranges, of course, that go with the series, and it was easy on the eyes, and it fit the story. I don't know what it is lately, and I mean, Loki did come out a couple years ago, but like the John Wick universe, and then this here, and there's been a couple of other ones that slipped my mind. And they love working with like analog technology and going back to like rotary phones and like computers with green screens and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. I love the look, and I really love when they do that, just because it feels a lot more raw and authentic. It's not like you can just of course there's like a fantastical element because there's like a button for everything, but it just in a way like a weird way to ground fantasy. I don't know if that makes any
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed picking up, like when Loki's like listen to the recording and he has to completely wind the tape again. Like a lot of people nowadays don't know what the heck that is because it's so old school.
So, what did you think about that part? When he does play the recording, we hear
I didn't get
we
that.
okay. Siri's on with us as well. No,
Well,
just kidding.
apparently Siri thought it was her turn to answer the
Oh,
question.
I know. I'm surprised none of mine turned on. Um, when you hear him play the tape and you hear "He Who Remains," I guess we'll still call him that. He Who Remains, talking to, was it Rem? I forgot her name. Judge Remfer, Rem something.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. It makes it like that scene kind of, I think, is setting up something for us. I don't know why, since he's in either the past or the future.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of clues. I think that was something that kind of made me think like, okay, we have some clues coming out in here with this jumping in time that maybe we're gonna see in the future episodes. What are your thoughts?
I know that's exactly what I thought. It was it makes the series a lot more interactive and so much
Mm-hmm.
fun, because I don't feel like I could take anything for granted. I feel like when I'm watching Loki, I need to be really focused, because this statue being on the table means something. This burnt wall, obviously that meant something very
Mm-hmm.
quickly. That recording, this one person may walking in the background something, and it can have a consequence. Now I hope that things like that are added, and that pay off in the future, but at least what they're doing is setting that up for you and saying, look at all these little things that are happening. Some of these might you might need to know for later, and that kind of writing I just love, because it keeps you engaged. It forces you to you know, because you have those shows and those movies where you can turn it on, you can go cook, you can continue to work, and you can look up every now and then, and still really understand what's happening overall in general. But with a show like this, if we're getting those clues very subtly, you really can't do that. You need to sit down and really take it all in.
Yeah, exactly. With that, let's take a little break to go to the comments. Welcome back, Sladro. It has been a while since we've seen you. Sorry, it's been a long. Sorry about that. That we haven't done these in a while, but we've been really busy. We've been making a lot of changes. But let's go to your comments. The first episode was dope. Interesting that Loki was time slipping. I'm just confused on how Kang or He Who Remains ran the TVA then in the present day. It was all hidden. Second comment from Sladro. I forgot as well was the events of uh, NWH. The reason that he who remains couldn't predict what was gonna happen next. Hmm. Interesting. And then that's kind of or he did he and he didn't.
So I mean, I think we had already talked about it a little bit that it looks like in this season we're gonna really unravel who was involved
Mm-hmm.
and how was it that he was able to to take control in that way of the TVA. Maybe it's all just like a fever dream or something because if Kang really control has that much control over everything. I mean, he did say the line "He who remained," and it says that's kind of like um Mobius made the comment about like, yeah, he can't really, that's kind of ingratiating. And then Loki was like, no, he could back it up. And he's like, oh, okay, well, that's really bad then. So I think we're gonna find out that there's a couple more players involved here. Um, and I don't know, it's just so weird because of what happened in Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania. I really feel that the whole entity, and I get it, there's a bunch of them. Um, but I really feel like that entity, the Gang the Conqueror, really took a hit personally by losing to Ant-Man. This was one of those situations where I think that Disney should have really, swung for the fences, had him kill him, or another one of the characters. There needs to be consequences and reasons for why these characters matter.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I, we've seen we've seen a couple of them die already, and you're not giving me a reason why I should fear him, why this matters so much, which is why I think I've told you I'm kind of containing Loki as kind of not a bigger multiverse saga story, but as a Loki series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So I just you need to make them bad. You need to like
Mm-hmm.
how quickly did they do that in Guardians of the Galaxy with a gun, showing you why this guy mattered, why this guy needed to be eliminated. He's a
Mm-hmm.
bad guy.
Yeah.
It's okay to have bad guys.
And I think that's where the whole problem with some of the MCU is that the villains have not been, other than Thanos, really hadn't had a real stake
Right.
of a villain. And I agree with you on that. Sladro, yeah, King losing to Ant-Man, IMO was not it for me. Like no way. And King the Conqueror was supposed to be the most dangerous one, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
correct, not or not. Yeah, he's supposed to be the most dangerous king out of all of them. And what, he gets sucked into another portal? Technically, he's not dead.
Yeah. It's just it just makes it really difficult to to kind of have that same urgency
Yeah.
that we're supposed to be feeling, because with Thanos and it was this really slow burn where he didn't need to do anything because the villains got progressively worse, uh, to some degree, and a lot of them died, unfortunately. Um, and then when he did come out, there was a period where, I mean, when he snapped his fingers and half the world was gone, half the universe, and then the movie went, all right, cool, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I went to a couple of screenings of that. It's like eerily quiet. I mean, I'm like, it's a Marvel movie. Why is everybody so? I mean, I was one of them, but looking back at it, it's like it was a Marvel movie. Like, why are we so like uh thrown off by this and what he did with Vision and then whatnot? So there was a lot of weight to it. I mean, when what he did with Gamora and things like that, he did bad things, and you were like, oof. uh, Kang, he's been he's been paraded to us that he is this really bad guy, but every step of the way he's been defeated. Why should the whoever the Avengers are gonna be even care?
Yeah.
Because just an Ant-Man, he took care of it last time.
He just sucked them into a portal. Why don't we just do the same thing?
Yeah,
Uh,
so I think that's the only part in this new series of Loki, second season of Loki, sorry, that is kind of lacking for me, is that I'm more interested in their journey necessarily than their connection with Kang, because to this point Disney has not given me a reason to care about him.
yeah, and I agree. As we're getting close to wrapping this up, we're not going to go as long as we used to do and go hours and hours as we used to. But we're going to be wrapping this up very soon. We're going to go about throughout the season. We're going to go about 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes at the most when we do our reviews, and then we'll do a longer show at the end once the season's over. But before we continue, what would let's do some little prediction time of what we're hoping to see this season. What are some of the key points you hope to find out in this season?
I really want to strain that connection between Sylvie and Loki a little bit more, and maybe an expansion of Morbius's character, just because it seems very sometimes superficial.
Mhm.
And what I really don't want is, I do not want a ton of Easter eggs into many other things. You had Easter eggs in the first season, but they were very well thought out, and they were very Loki related. When like they had the different ones on the world and things of that nature. But don't start adding the Marvels in there for whatever dumb reason. Or and if you are going to continue to tease Kang, really give me a reason to care. I mean, I doubt you can't really do that with one series. This is something that has to happen progressively. But lay that groundwork. Although I will say they did it in the first season. They laid the groundwork. They laid the foundation. We got the statue. We were all hyped, and that's really where we left off. And here we are again.
Mhm.
I do not have I don't have that same trust as I did before, but I enjoy that journey. I enjoy the chase. Make sure to keep the pacing going. Don't give me filler episodes, and let's have some fun, because I love Owen Wilson's and Tommy Hilton's banter. They're just great together. Just I think that's it in a nutshell. Am I asking for too much? I feel like I'm asking for too much.
No, you're not asking for too much because I'm the same way. I agree with you on what you said, and I want to add more. Um, to add a top of that, because I've been very critical of some of these Marvel shows. WandaVision, I was critical of because of the timing of each show. I don't want a 20-minute episode show anymore. I want these shows to at least be consistent between 35 and 45 minutes or 50 minutes per episode. I would like every other show, like Last of Us, that everything is a good 50, 55 minutes. And we get a full episode where we're not just like hanging off of a ledge
Hmm.
per episode. And then we're just like, oh, here comes the end of the series and it's 30 minutes. It's like consistency matters so much to me. And I know to a lot of fans as well. So I'm hoping they do that. I'm I have this weird feeling already that whatever happened before this is going to be explained as branches in the timeline to
Yeah.
fix the problem. I don't know why I have this weird feeling because I think they know they made a mistake somewhere, and a and a way to correct it would be to do that.
Yeah, it'd be such lazy, like, I don't know, it'd
Oh,
be
it would
such
be
lazy
lazy. It'd
writing.
be lazy, but it wouldn't
Lazy
shock
writing.
me. It
It's
wouldn't
the
shock
same.
me.
It's the same reason why I detest She-Hulk so much,
Mm-hmm.
is because they honestly, the beginning of the show, I gave it all kinds of praise. I love that, uh, that the courtroom drama s comedy, and then I don't know what happened. They turned it into, and then at the end they try to make it okay by like making it meta, and like what I was like, what? That was absolutely the definition of lazy writing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't mind episodes being different times too much, just as long as they get the point across of what they need to accomplish that episode. I know Star Wars had a couple of episodes in the Mandalorian season 3 where it's like, why was this long? This we could have wrapped this up very, very soon. I felt the same way in the early episodes of Andor. But yeah, just get your point across. What I don't want is to get to like episode 7 or 6 or 7 or around those, whatever, and going, how are they gonna wrap this up? Like, I don't want it to get too convoluted that I'm just like questioning, uh, where are we going? Because I like to have a clear direction. Ahsoka did a really good job at that. You kind of had an idea what was coming, and it delivered. So yeah, just like, I mean, consistency is a word I would use also, like you did. That would be great. And yeah, I mean, it's gonna take a lot more than that to fix the Marvel universe. Because what are you gonna do? You're gonna tell me it was a different timeline, and all of a sudden we have an Avengers team? Because
Yeah,
we
pretty
don't.
much that's what I was probably thinking of. I'm very like I as Sladro knows, because like on She-Hulk, the only episode that I liked was Daredevil's Walk of Shame. Even though, as Sladro does know, Jeffrey was all over the Walk of Shame. We'll talk about that later. And it's a continuing joke, and it'll still be a continuing joke up to this day because he didn't know why they called it the Walk of Shame. Um, so we'll leave that for recap episodes for a future time. But I just want it to be clean. I want this to move forward. I want to see that what we're coming up to is gonna matter to something. Make me look forward to these movies, to these shows, to what is gonna. I mean, you made a continuity timeline. Let's stick to that. No lazy writing. No Kevin Feige bots. Let's just move friggin' forward with good episodes, good writing, good shows, and you got me, and I'll be happy.
I wish I could be there with you, but I'm not. I've the only thing I have faith in is the fact that I will always support no creative teams for
Mhm.
putting in effort to shows and movies. As far as right now, the MCU, they have given me no reason to other than um, some nuggets here and there. Shang-Chi for me was a bright spot.
Yeah.
Loki, of course. Um, Guardians 3, and so there. I mean, and then parts of Winter Soldier before it got too preachy.
Yep.
Um, but the thing is I've invested, and the thing is it's their own fault. And I've
Mhm.
said this many times to many people. They set the bar. They set the precedent. They said this is the way you do a saga. In the case, Infinity Wars. This is how you do it. This is how you build characters. This is how you build a team. This is how you build anticipation. Boom! One of the greatest fight scenes ever, if not the best one ever, as far as like a comic book movie. And now they have. I was like, you guys wrote the book, and now you guys don't want to play by it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so uh just give me a good series. I'm not even looking for I'm not even looking for continuity. I'm not looking for connect me to a bigger universe because the last thing I saw was Secret Wars. Sorry, no, Secret Invasion, which was
That
god
was
awful.
bad.
And
So
then I have the Marvels coming up,
Mhm.
which I have no interest in
Mhm.
whatsoever. For what? Um and yeah, see the problem with the Marvels that I have is I Captain Marvel, and this is I think you might agree with me. Um Captain Marvel only was released because of the pressure of the fact of how well Warner Brothers did with Wonder Woman. They needed that figure out.
Yeah.
I think Black Widow should have came out first.
Mhm.
Um and really her sacrifice would have meant so much more if we would have got to know her better.
Mhm.
We still set up Yelena, and then in that battle, that's where we get introduced Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
and it gives us a foundation for what we do next,
Mhm. Oh,
what we're supposed to do next. It
oh
was a
yeah, I agree
simple
with you.
fix. Nobody pays me. I mean, I wish somebody would pay me to do this because it feels like common sense. But
Yeah,
whatever.
don't no.
I'm sorry. I when I talk, sometimes I talk about Marvel, I vent a lot because I invest so much time in it.
Oh no, hey, this is what we do here. Is that we tell the truth of what our thoughts are and with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially shows like this. Has it probably gotten me in trouble? Probably, but 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 hey, I'd rather be honest and say where the points are than to be always constantly being a yes man. If there's
Hmm.
problems with the show, there's problems with the show. I agree with you about the Captain Marvel thing was a little too early to be introduced in Endgame would have been great. But Black Widow should have got her story first because when it happened afterwards, I had no interest.
Yeah.
Her it would have, and I agree with you 100%. Her stakes at the end when she pretty much gives up to get the Soul Stone would have been so much more powerful of her for her story to conclude
Hmm.
than the way it was by her
Yep.
doing it afterwards. And I agree with you 100%. It's 31 minutes now. We're going to be closing it out. But before we go, I want to take one of Sladro's questions, which is I want to find out if that Deadpool 2 theory is going to be true. Ha ha ha.
Here's the thing about the Deadpool thing is it's so meta that you can that right now, especially right now in our time when writers were striking, not anymore, thankfully. We have actors striking. You really have no content as far as some of these outlets do. So you can take any Reddit comment, any idea, any babble out there and make it a rumor mill thing and be like, "Oh yeah, so and so's gonna appear, and so and so's gonna be in this." I mean, and they did. Every character from the past, the future, the present has been rumored to come out in Deadpool 2. I might make an appearance. You never know. I've sat on that couch, his couch, um, and I mean, it's all there. I'm very very worried about that film because because Deadpool 2 was so good because it had never been done before. Deadpool 2, it was all right because it was literally repeating basically what we are doing in one. It's still fun. Now we're adding Disney parameters. I mean, it's kind of forced a little bit. And what do they do from the very beginning is they bait you with the fact that Hugh Jackman's returning as Wolverine.
Yep.
I mean, that's literally what happened with She-Hulk.
Mhm.
Daredevil's coming back. Daredevil did not come back. Daredevil showed up for like 2 episodes, and then like right when you were getting bored of like when is he gonna come out, they like shoved a little box with his costume. Like, oh, he's coming, and it kept you on that damn hook. It's the
Yep.
same thing they're doing with Star Wars. Every now and then they're just like, hey, look, it's Anakin. You love him, remember? And it's like,
Oh, look at C3PO is coming into
yeah,
the universe.
ooh, look, that's that robot you know. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, look
exactly.
at him. So, but I mean, Deadpool does give you that opportunity to do that. It's the best looking Juggernaut we've had in Deadpool 2. Juggernaut is
Yep.
my favorite X-Men just because
Mhm.
he's super cool. I know he's not a real mutant, but whatever. He's on the show. Leave him alone. Uh, so, yeah, I'm more than anything else. I trust Ryan Reynolds. Do not trust Disney right now,
Yeah.
especially with an R-rated um, Deadpool, because obviously there's going to be a lot of things that team's going to be like, no.
Nope. We can't have Mickey going out there and him cutting him into shreds. So, but with that, we'll close. We'll see you next week. Well, let's hold that back because we do have a lot of things going on next week. So Thursday, we may not have a show next Thursday. We may have one the following Thursday because um, there's a lot of things going on. I
And
can't
listen, we're
say.
adults.
I
We're
can't
busy.
say.
We're
Yeah.
adults. We're busy. We're bringing you all kinds of stuff. We got a destination extended. We got interviews. We got film festivals.
Hmm.
We're out there. We
Yep.
if we're just here, we're not getting it for you.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
Yep. And tomorrow, don't forget to check out News by Muse on Muse TV because Manny has an interview, a final interview with Albert Hughes.
Yes.
who directed episode 1 and 3 of The Continental. He's executive producer as well. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a great interview. And with that, we'll see you next time. We'll let you know. Look at our social medias to find out when our next show is going to be. See ya.
Later.